All right, it's time for another due diligence. It's Wednesday, October 9th, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the nomad, Kyle High. We we had a chat a couple weeks ago, but we did this almost exactly a year ago, dude, when we first connected and did a podcast. We were talking about the Human Design AI app, and at the time you were in Bali, I think. Is that correct?
I was in Bali. Yeah, I was
And
in
you've moved.
Bali. Yeah,
And where did you just move from? You're in Thailand now.
yeah. I'm in Thailand just now. Actually, hold on. I don't want to. I don't want to. Let. I don't know. This is the thing about when you dive into the podcast. It's always that. It's always that flow of like trying to find the small talk and stuff like that. But what were we talking about before we jumped into the call? We were talking about the human design community and what was the context.
Well, we were certainly talking about AI,
Yeah.
and um, maybe the word is apprehension is maybe a good word right now because it's everyone I'm talking to is actually using AI because they're being told to or because they're looking for a competitive advantage. But in the
Yeah.
same breath, they resist any AI that poses a threat. And you were even talking about yeah, like my one observation is I noticed at the Human Design conference in Santa Fe that people either didn't seem to be aware of the Human Design AI app or didn't hadn't investigated it but didn't really have a reason. But I would be willing to bet part of the reason was what do you mean people can self-serve their Human Design info? What value would I provide? I'm a reader, I'm a consultant, I'm a whatever, right? And what I was saying to you in that context was I'm experiencing kind of the same thing with my new friendship with Dr. Eleanor, who is bringing a different flair to Human Design. Right? She's got this four worlds approach. She broke from raw like others did, and when I talk to anyone new in the space, they embrace the info right away because they don't have something else predetermined or pre contemplated. But if you've
Yeah.
been in the let's call it traditional space for a while and you built a business around it, I see lots of apprehension. And this doesn't just apply to Eleanor's work, but I think also to AI is, what do I tell people? I've just spent 3 years or 8 years investing in this knowledge so I can consult as a reader, as an analyst. And now what do I tell them? With AI, the, the reader might even think they're not adding any value, and I don't think that's true. I think they can add a lot of value. And from the Eleanor's work, it's oh my god, I've told this person they're a projector, and Eleanor's work will suggest that 99% of us are manifesting generators, right? So being told that like,
Yeah.
hey, who you thought you were,
Yeah. No.
and
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen Eleanor's work, but even if we are 99% manifesting generators, as what she's saying, as a projector, as a projector that's experienced this reality. With the platform, it's quite clear that I have a manifesting generating capacity because I've manifested and generated a vision, for sure. But in terms of my social interactions, in terms of the way that I go through life, I still am a projector. I still can. I still have to wait for that invitation to, especially when it comes from people to people. So from that aspect, I don't think that's really a big concern for anybody. But for the readers, I can kind of feel I can get where they're coming from, and it's always been a part of my awareness and consciousness when I'm building this tool to take these people into consideration, and not to create something that was going to harm them or even remove business from them. And my mindset towards it, and this is where I think the problem, from my perspective, the problem is my mindset is the more people that understand human design and have easy access to human design for free, the more people are going to be looking for people to understand human design in other aspects of their life. For example, if you're somebody that's a nutritionist or a health coach or a business coach or whatever, and somebody finds human design through humandesign.ai, they learn about the system, they learn the information, but they never. It's always better to have another human being working beside us. An AI can't replace that experience. So why not position yourself within the platform, contribute to the platform, and then actually benefit when the platform grows, so that your face and your work and your effort is going to be easily accessible by people that are already interested in the topic that you're offering, but instead you focus on the scarcity,
Yep.
and that's the problem.
Well,
I
and
mean,
one thing you and I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, I think we're both on the same wavelength that we want uh, collective consciousness to raise for everybody, right? Like, if people don't change their frequency, period, everywhere, we're all fucked.
it,
So,
bro, you brought something to me there. If the thing is that right now, if there is a God, which I feel there's a God, I believe in God. If there's a God and there's a higher plan and everything's unfolding the way it's supposed to be unfolding, God knows that we have to get this information out. God knows that this is a blueprint that has been. This is part. Some would say, oh, it's not God because it's not Christianity, but it's God because it's still creation. It's something that's been created as a blueprint that we need at this moment in time. And if that, with everything that's going on in the world, that if there is a force that wants the best for us as a collective, he wants that this information has to be accessible as fast as possible, as easy as possible to everybody. And to stand in the way of that because you're worried that you're not going to be able to pay your bills is the exact reason that you're not getting the support from the universe in order to stay afloat. Does that make sense?
yeah, totally.
Because as soon as you're like, you know what, God, I don't give a shit about my bottom line. I want to do the work that I'm doing because I want to, the thing is that like, people, I don't know what people think. I don't know if people think that humandesign.ai is some mega profitable machine. Actually, only 1.5 to 2% of our users are paid subscribers. 98% of the people are using the tool for free, and I'm cool with that. Like that doesn't bother me. Like I'm happy that these people are benefiting from my work unconditionally, even though sometimes it means that I have to. I don't live the most luxurious life. Sometimes it's difficult. And so all these people out there that think, oh, for AI, blah blah blah. It's like, no, you're missing the point. It's like this is not about AI or money, or this is about getting this information out to as many people as possible. And if you support that vision, if you believe in that vision, if you contribute to that vision, then in the future, when people understand, when human design becomes something of a mass consciousness, then you're going to be somebody that's very established in that field, with the human element. So nothing other the 7 years or 3 years or whatever that you've done studying human design has definitely not gone to waste.
Yeah,
It's actually the best asset that you could possibly have. And if you support this vision, we can get human design out to more people. And then I built a system that didn't just enrich the system; it enriches the people that are contributing and present within the platform. you
mm,
know and yeah, that in itself is intimidating. I can understand because people have been duped by Facebook and Instagram and all those things. But the thing, I could have sold out many times with this business, but I chose to struggle and to go through the hardship of, of building it without support. So it's not like I'm
well,
not doing it. I'm not doing it for a quick buck. I'm doing it because it's something that my soul is here to do. Right? I'm a 4-1. That's being
yeah,
a
well, it's
projector.
because
Right?
it matters for all of us, right? And like, being a guy that's been in the app space, like, you have the freemium model, right? It's free, and if you want extra features, you pay for it, and that ultimately has proven to be how the best way to build and spread an app. Anyways, if you start
Yeah,
with a wall, people,
yeah.
it's so much effort to get the customer interested, and that's what you need, is people interested in raising their vibe, and then, you know, go
I,
ahead.
I would love to. I would love to touch on the freemium model actually, because I would like to take the opportunity to communicate to the community how it actually works, and the importance and the fairness of this model. Because there's some people, I've had some people reaching out to me saying that nothing in human design should be charged. There should be no professionals or anything like that. They're so adamant of that aspect. Um, but with the freemium model, see, my mindset is okay, beginners. Most people that are beginners of human design, they're beginners of human design because they've kind of hit some kind of rock bottom, or they're struggling, or they're trying to figure out who they are and what they're here to do. And especially with everything that's going on with AI, nobody's really got any money. So for me, we had a paywall on that for a while, but that was only because the cost of running the project was so high. But now that the cost of running the project is reduced because the AI is reduced, now we give the tool away to beginners for free, for 100%. No, unconditional. I'm not selling your data, anything malicious. I'm making one for the team. It's 100% free. There's no catches. There's no illusions. There's nothing. Yeah, the business is valuable. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing. But the
Mhm.
for the paid features, we people can read other people's charts. Now, our membership at the moment is $60 for a year, which is $5 a month, and that gives you unlimited access to the personal plan, which lets you read charts for other people. And the reason that this is because if you look at it from a value perspective, a value ratio, with when you have the ability to read other people's charts and to compare relationships, you don't just have something for your own benefit. You have something that can actually become a source of income for you. You could be doing readings and not having to know the entire system and remember the entire system. You know what I mean? So it becomes an income source for you. So for $60 a year, forgive me if I think that's probably one of the bargains of the apocalypse. That's a
Yeah.
that's a great gift to the world.
Mhm.
If you come back into the abundance. Sorry, my friends just called. Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Good.
Coffee.
Yeah,
See what I
like
mean?
no, I totally, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. Um, yeah, and I've had this conversation with a number of people around because I have stopped doing what my old job was, which was being computer guy for big projects. I don't want to do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Hmm.
So I've invested years now into knowledge, human design, and other stuff. And so to me, it's a tool that's part of what I'm going to be like. My term for myself is energy strategist. It doesn't say human design in it. It doesn't say human design reader.
Yeah.
It's I'm an energy strategist, and I think there's a ton of ways to be that. One is working with someone with anxiety and helping them, with that, but also incorporating human design or Tai Chi Gum.
Amen. Amen. This is it, man. You hit the nail on the head, bro. Perfectly. And
Well,
this
there's
is the
also well, this
yeah.
sorry, but there's other
Sorry.
like that one's an obvious one, I think. But one of the
Hmm.
fun conversations I had with someone, we were talking about like energetic feng shui. Like, you could actually change how a team works together or a family lives together by helping them reorganize their house so that their auras are separated when they're sleeping, like, or
Wow.
making sure someone that's caves environment, that their back is actually to a wall when they're sitting there by themselves, so they feel safe in their skin, so they're not already preamped, right? There's so many juicy little things that we're experimenting with and figuring out that it
Mm.
would empower other people. And all of a sudden, like a group of 5 people that can't work together at the office, never mind the whole Penta stuff and all that. What if each person sitting around the table was actually just in the chair that was most comfortable for them? What if someone was who is mountains needed to sit on a stool just so they felt like they were like observing slightly, right? Like there's all these things that I've been experimenting with friends, and we try these things, and it's like there's something to it. And if you're just trying to help a team deliver a better product, and part of it is that they don't actually want to claw each other's eyes out in the 2 hours they're in the meeting because they're uncomfortable in their own skin,
Mm.
that's a benefit that could be done, right? And so there's
There's
just so many ways.
there's infinite potential, and I don't I have to reiterate for the thousandth time, that I'm the kind of person that I'm happy with coconuts and a good view. I don't need a lot to be happy, or I don't need anything to be happy. To be fair, so the if anyone in the human design community is watching this and you want to be part of something that's really cool and not and actually like work together on making the world a better world, then come and chat. Like I'm open. Like it's like more the merrier. We can share everything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. My universe is a little different. I have, three businesses that I don't necessarily even want to do, but I can't just walk away from them. I've got a wife
Yeah,
of 13 years. I've got two kids. I've got two dogs, two cats, a house. I can't just like I would love to just talk about coconuts. Like nothing would like I've actually I said to my wife last week, like I'm tempted to go rob a bank, not
yeah,
injure anybody, but to
yeah.
to get arrested so that I could get 3 meals a day and get
Well,
access to internet and my own room and time outside and not have any
yeah,
responsibilities. Like it's
yeah.
tempting to do
That's
some light fraud just so that my
that,
life would be simpler.
yeah. I hear you, man. That's that would it's funny that you bring that up because where I'm at right now, I arrived in Thailand. I'm on my way to Koh Phangan, and but before I could board my flight, they wouldn't let me board my flight without booking a hotel. So I went on to Booking.com, and in the last minute, I didn't want to make the decision where I was going to stay in that moment. So I just booked the cheapest place that came up in Bangkok in the area that I wanted to be in. Um, and then when I got out into the taxi, I looked at Booking.com and I checked out the place, and it happened to be the only place in Bangkok, the whole massive mega metropolis city you could ever imagine, that was actually like a jungle kind of place
That's awesome.
with little huts and a swimming pool and um, so I decided, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go and just see what it's like because that's much more my vibe than the city. And just got here and have spent the last few days just relaxing. Where was I going with that? Um, but yeah, then I'm on my way to Koh Phangan. Where was I going with that? Lost.
I wonder how we got into
Where was I
booking.
going? Oh yeah, yeah. Here's the point. There was a point to that. There was a point to that. Okay, so there's a point to that. Yes, I could in this moment probably afford something much better than this and much more comfortable. But the point I'm making is that that's not the kind of person I am. Like my you're saying about your family and your situation, and so many people at home will also be saying, oh yeah, but I got so many responsibilities, and I absolutely believe and agree with that. But the point that you made earlier about not just focusing our attention purely on human design, but why don't we combine human design with something else that we're passionate about? um, So when I started the platform back in 2021, it was I discovered human design, and as soon as I realized I was a projector and I realized all the things I've been doing wrong, I was like, this really resonates. This is like, oh, I was like, holy shit, There's like, oh my god, like this makes so much sense. I've been doing everything wrong, and it really changed my life to such an extent that I felt so inclined to give it to the world, right? So that's when I registered the domain name. But first of all, I had to learn how to teach it. So the first thing that I did when I was um, learning the system was I combined human design with online business because I knew online business, and I made the chatbot was my like a very basic chatbot that I made for myself. So humandesign.ai actually was a tool that I used to create, and that's one of the reasons I believe that it has actually grown to where it's got to is because instead of having an intention of I want to make money with human design, I want to this is an income source for me. My intention was how can I give this to as many people as possible? How can I make this easy to digest and understand?
Yeah.
You see, um, so if people come to the platform, they're not coming to somebody that's just trying to get rich and fuck everybody. They're coming to the platform to somebody to support somebody that's adamant on making this information as easy as possible for as many people as possible, as fast as possible to understand. And the byproduct of that will be a future career for all these people if they just keep the faith.
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
No,
that's
that's
the
kind of where we
vision.
started. Is there's a yeah, something stirring in the air, a bunch of stuff going on, and this is a time when I think everyone is on eggshells. You know, elections are coming up, and all sorts of just the energy period is frenetic, and mix into that people that have strive to improve themselves, raise their
Yeah,
consciousness, raise their vibe, but we're all wanting to be of service, but we all have mouths to feed or responsibilities or prior commitments that we haven't
it's the
tur-
it's the greatest
ended yet.
it's the greatest challenge. It's the greatest challenge. It's the chicken and the egg, isn't it? So, because
Yeah.
we want to be successful so that we can share our wisdom, but we need to share our wisdom to become successful,
Mhm.
right? It's a great challenge, but and and it's very easy for me to say because I was very fortunate to be put on this path at this moment in time. It's very easy to say, but I have to for those people that have never had the pleasure of reading my two books, then you realize that it's been my whole life has been the greatest struggle to get to this point.
Hmm. I didn't know you. So what two
Yeah,
books?
so I wrote two books. Yeah, I wrote two books.
I think you mentioned that before.
I never mentioned that. So yeah,
Don't
it's
think
a
so.
long story. It's a long story.
Oh, you want to give a short version, or what are the two books called?
It's very difficult to keep it short. The first one is called The Winner's Guide,
Okay.
and I published that one in 2015, 2006. And the second one is called The Universe in Us, which I published in 2016. No, sorry,
Hmm.
that's not true. No, 2020. I started writing it in 2016. Um, and yeah, I didn't sell a huge amount of books, but I changed quite a few people's lives, and I earned a hell of a lot of good karma. Felt like I sacrificed my own idiocracy uh, in order for the great of good, and my reward from that was great protection during this period of time.
Hmm.
Uh, HumanDesign.ai being one of those things. Um, but yeah, I just always somebody changed my life. I wasn't really always very positive. I was negative up until about the age of 19. I had a really challenging childhood. Didn't know my real dad. My stepdad was aggressive. And I was just like totally fucked up. But then I met somebody that changed my life, and she just changed everything. And one of the last things that she said to me before she passed away was that I have to take the focus from what we have to we as a collective have to take the focus from what we can take from the world and put the focus onto what we can give.
Hmm.
So in full circle to what we were talking about before, yes, it is hard, and it's always a challenge to be of service but balance the reality of the economy and the situation, you know. And I've been there. I've worked the worst jobs you could imagine. I worked in strip clubs, night shifts in hotels, all these kinds of things to stay true to what I knew was already in my heart and my soul, and that was just whatever I was being guided to intuitively.
Hmm.
um, the long story short is this is a time of great suffering, but if we can change our focus from what can we take from the world when everybody's trying to take from the world, and put our focus onto what we can give when everybody needs something. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Totally. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Where to go
There's
from
still
here?
right.
What's that?
There's still abundance, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
do you think that 7-Eleven is stuck is still receiving a lot of money right now?
7-Eleven. Like the
Yeah, would you say 7-Eleven was still a profitable business just now?
I don't even. I think aren't they all Circle K's anyways now? I just realized. I think they
I don't know. We still have 7-Eleven here in Thailand,
do.
but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
The, the,
something's
the,
going
the,
on.
the point that I'm making is there is still a lot of abundance in the economy. Everybody still has money to a certain extent. It's just where they're directing that money, where they're putting that money.
Yep.
And our so in my advice to anybody out there that's really like in a place of like, what do I do, what do I give, it's just like, you just ask yourself the question over and over again: how can I impact as many people as possible? For what can I create that is going to impact as many people as possible? Not about how can I make as much money as possible, or what if I made this ebook and I sold it for $1 or whatever. No, it's like, what in my heart and my soul, what can I give to people right now en masse, and how can I give it to as many people as possible in a way? Does that make sense? Like, what is it? What's that thing? And it's easier said than done. So I don't expect everybody to just listen to this podcast and for it to come to them. But if you plant that seed, at some point in time, it's going to come to you.
Yeah. Well, it's in a in a similar light. I've been
Hmm.
playing. Let's see if this makes even sense in response. But I've been doing a lot more video lately of just me sharing something like something I know, and I get advice left, right, and center about if you have a YouTube channel, it needs to be dedicated to a particular topic or this or that. And I reached a point where I'm like, I don't care about any of these games. My YouTube channel is called Just Shawning Around, and whatever I put up there is what I am looking to share. And so I've got a video I'll probably finally just upload tonight. I've been chickening out on it, but I call it's going to be a series called "I'm not a doctor, I'm a drummer," but and then it's just shit that I've figured out for myself that other people seem to like think is brilliant, and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing in the world, right? But
But that's
apparently, I'm
that's
really
the perfect. But that's it, bro. Sean, you've
yeah.
hit the nail on the head, and that's the beauty of it. It's like
Mhm,
something for you that feels so effortless and easy and joyful.
mhm. Yeah, it's playful, and I'm always surprised that it's not already something that other people have shared. Like it's just so so obvious in these things. So I'm just gonna do it my own way,
Right.
and right, and just
See what
and we'll see what happens, right? So
it's gonna. Well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna do great because man, you are a great guy. There's no reason that you should be in this situation other than there was a process that had to get you to this moment in time. And I'm very happy to hear that that's what you've decided to do, because the less attachment we have to the success of our work, the
mhm.
the more that it's likely to be successful. And a funny story I'll tell people out there. I'll be completely honest with you. Like, do you want to know how to the bone I'm running HumanDesign.ai? The bank account was at £47 the other day for the platform, like two couple of days ago, right? I'm not making a bunch of money and everybody's suffering. It's not how it's going. Like, everything gets reinvested into growing the platform. I live an okay life. Don't get me wrong, but everything goes back into the platform. Anyway, and I was like, why are the sales not coming in? I'm working so hard to make it happen. I'm coding every day. I'm constantly delivering value. What's happening? What's going on? And then finally, I got to this random jungle place here in Thailand, and I've just taken a couple of days off and hanging out with the guys and smoking and chilling. And just by taking my attention away from the need to make money, and not even, this place is so cheap, I don't even need to think about it. I'm just going to be present and enjoy myself. By doing that, I logged into the Stripe earlier, and I saw that every single day since I did that, there'd been a payment or two coming in to the business. The money had started flowing in. And it's not like a huge amount, it's enough to live on. But as soon as we stop putting that pressure on the universe to deliver us money, and we come back into the present and live in that joyful state like you just mentioned, then that's where the magic happens in
Mhm.
all aspects: relationships, business, money. You know?
Yeah, no, totally, man. And it
Yeah.
like lately it feels natural and feels safe.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely did not. I did not like to see myself on video. I didn't want to have to explain myself afterwards.
Yeah.
I didn't, I was always too much or too extra for a lot of people, and so it's like come with like extreme humility. Like I've just reached a point where like my give a fuck is not give a fuck as in I don't care. It's that I just have let go. It's just it's just like whatever, and it surprises even me. But it's taken so much work, right? That's been trauma stuff and hypnosis and just everything
Same,
to
same,
reverse
same.
your voice, right?
Isn't it just amazing though how good it feels when you can truly let go of something or somebody, and knowing that it's okay, if that's meant to be, that's meant to be. And it's in that void. That's the chicken and the egg. It's like, well, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's not the chicken or the egg. It's the process. It's the bit in between. It's the void, right?
Hmm.
So then we have to assume that something is going to happen. We have to practice the law of assumption. So, for example, if we fall in love with somebody, we meet somebody, what we tend to do is we tend to feel like an overwhelming uh, burst of emotions, and we have to express those emotions, and we have to share the emotions. And what that does is it kind of spends the energy. Whereas if we just allow those emotions to fester a little bit, um, and
You
allow
okay
the
there?
allow, allow the allow the relationship to unfold naturally, um,
Just have a little.
then yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, but you know what? Like
You
while
know what
you
I
were
mean,
saying
though.
that, so maybe the pause is because I need to interject and get back to a little bit like talking about AI for a second. So
Sorry. Yeah.
it's occurred to me a few times because I use Chat GPT. There's other ones I'm actually interested in exploring others, but like frankly, I paid for it and I just don't have time to learn something else right now. So I'm using Chat GPT, and
Yeah.
I probably said this to you before in our last conversation, but Chetan Parkin talked about the 4323 channel being, it's freak to genius, but it's knowing without knowledge. And
Yeah.
that's what I realized ChatGPT is for me is I have knowledge, access to basically everything that's out there. And the knowing is the questions I ask it, right? And so it's like I basically have my own 4323 at the end of my fingers, right? Well,
Yeah.
what if every single person, instead of sitting down at ChatGPT going, "Oh, I got to have it write me a social media post," or "I don't want to use this at all because it's going to put me out of my job and it's going to have an impact." If
Yeah.
everybody sat down in front of the console and said, "This is something I'm really passionate about and I'd like to see change in the world. Can you help me? Like, can we have a conversation back and forth?"
Yeah.
Because every single
Yeah.
person then becomes a creator and they're
Yeah.
creating new things. They're excited
Yeah.
and they're amped and they're in flow. And
Yeah.
like we would solve all kinds of problems if everybody
Yeah.
started asking questions from a place of being like, how can I make an impact? And that's it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
It's so simple. It's so simple. And the funny thing is that people are so scared of the government and all this kinds of stuff, and they're this and that and this and that. But the thing is that if you are doing something for the greater good, if you're focused on contributing something, then most of the time you're protected, unless you come to a direct threat with somebody in power. You're not actually really on their radar. You don't really exist. You're too high vibration for them. So I used
Mhm.
to be, I used to be kind of more conscious of like the government and the conspiracies. And whilst I do absolutely believe, and I'm sure there is so much evil that's happening under the behind the scenes of everything, it's terrible. I don't want to be part of it. But in my world, everything's actually very peaceful and very loving.
Mhm.
So I've come to the realization that I'm just on a different frequency to that kind of energy.
Mhm.
So why am I allowing that kind of energy to pull me into its awareness when that's not really my reality, right?
Mhm.
So when we have that detachment, and it's not ignorance, because I don't my heart and soul feels for every person that suffers on this planet. It's not a disregarding of that suffering, but it's a realization that I cannot unfortunately control that suffering. So I have to detach from that suffering because that suffering doesn't belong to me in this moment in time, and I'm no use to anybody if I'm attached to that suffering.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, my mind went a little trip there with something you said. So I heard you, but I don't have a follow up comment.
That's okay. That's the point. That's my 4-1. I'm the juxtaposition of cross stimulation. It's like that's my point. That's that's
Oh, I know what I want. I know what I want to say to that because, like,
mm,
you're in this beautiful place with, like, very few ties, right? Like, you're in a happy place and you're in your own vibe.
yeah.
I experienced that quite a bit 2 weeks ago when I
Mm,
was in Santa Fe because I was away from home. I was away
mm,
from the place where I live, which has all the connections, all the ties. And so, and I definitely recognize that I think I'm meant to be here and try to teach others that here. That seems to
yeah.
be, and it's going to suck for me in a way, but I know I'll be taken care of. But you know what I mean? Like I'm right in the stew, and I'm in Victoria. I'm in a place where it's the capital city of our province, so there's a lot of government employees here, and you know things are getting super weird. Where our taxes have gone up, um, and but there's less jobs, and there's more government staff apparently needed to do nothing, and then they're taking every second Friday off, and they're complaining about their jobs, and the rest of us are
This,
out in the field going like,
yeah.
what, like you
Yeah.
know. And I think pretty soon it's not
Mm,
gonna the whole house of cards is gonna fall. And
yeah.
I guess it was so nice being away from that because I could feel it here, like energetically, the stew of it.
Yeah.
I was back. I was back. But when I was in Santa Fe, I was sitting under a tree in the desert with
Yeah.
less
Yeah. No,
electronics around.
that's a great observation, man. And I've also noticed in my travels the uh, let me tell you as a projector, it's kind of like we're really good at picking up the vibes of these kind of places. But let me tell you, most cities right now in the world, dude, they are dark, chaotic, evil places, and it's heartbreaking to imagine the amount of suffering and that's going on um, all over the world. But the one thing that we can do is that it's not complete chaos. We still have the ability to work with each other. And the one thing that we can do and be is a guiding light to other people. And what better way to be a guiding light to other people than to teach them how to make decisions correctly for themselves?
Hmm.
So even if we never see them ever again in during this whole situation, they know that they've been equipped with a knowledge that can help them to make decisions that will keep them safe and put them onto their own destiny.
Hmm.
And I think that's the one thing that we can do. But it's like, yeah, it's imagine you did that for somebody, some rich person, one time. You did it unconditionally, and they were like, you know what? I'm so glad that somebody. I've been 80 years of grinding. I made all this money, but I'm totally fucked. Like, and finally they find out that they're a projector or something. Like, and it's
Yeah,
like,
just that's all it took. Yeah. Well,
you know, rest,
I
rest in
talk to people
peace.
all the time about genetic
Yeah,
trauma. You can get that
yeah,
from your design, right?
yeah.
And I actually lead with that. When I do a human design night, I talk a little bit about type and stuff, and then I just go right for the gusto because as soon as you recognize that, you know, my genetic trauma was shame. I live in a
Yeah.
house with three people with guilt, and
Hmm.
like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that explains everything, right? Because you're with the whole idea of genetic trauma is you try to avoid whatever your trauma is, so you do it to others first. So
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah, yeah,
trauma, you'll reject someone in order to avoid being rejected. But what if you can move past that? And what
yeah.
if you
Well, that's
partners about that or your
med.
parent, right?
Mm. Well, this is where meditation comes into play, and a lot of people think a lot of people disregard meditation because it seems like it's just like one, just like yoga or meditation. It's like, oh, it's just something that like hippies do or whatever. But for me personally, to handle vast amounts of emotions, the only possible way to do it without allowing that to overspill into your physical reality and cause problems is literally to just sit with it and it's just you got to face it, you got to, right, you got to face that reality, and then as soon as you face it, it dissipates. So
Yeah, meditation's huge. It's taken me 3 years to get good at it, but I would say I'm exceptional at it now. Like I can just get there
drop
and
into
it's
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Same, it's
And
great.
from learning hypnosis, I'm actually when I get to certain states, I try to like remind myself to anchor it in. So like you put your tongue on the top of your mouth, you press your finger together, like you're basically saying like telling yourself remember this vibe so that you can recall it. So I actually can now recall states of like bliss and when I'm on the pickleball court, I'll be like, "Oh fuck, I'm getting all wound up." And I'll just go and I because I anchored that memory and that feeling. And so I was
Yeah,
talking to some
yeah,
Carla
okay,
Unger,
yeah,
I'm going to talk to her about, and she's working with essential oils. Well, what if
okay.
while you're capturing this moment, you're anchoring it, you're smelling it, you're tasting it, like you're really actually manifesting bliss back into your everyday life, right? So,
Well, this is a very interesting point to touch on, Sean, because going back to the idea of when you fall in love and you find somebody and you meet somebody, having the ability to understand each other's electromagnetics as one aspect is hugely beneficial, because in actual fact we can get along with every single person if we really understand who they are and we just
yeah,
accommodate that aspect of them. But then on top of that, the um, I always lose my train of thought whenever I get to that point. That's not meant to come out. Wherever that is not meant to come out.
well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about understanding like your partner's mechanics and showing them grace or space to express. But I think you
Yeah,
were
something.
going to
There's a
take that
deeper
further.
point. Yeah, there's a deeper point, but every time I get to it, I keep losing it. So
Uh-huh.
it's maybe just not the time for it to come out.
It's not ready.
No.
Hmm.
Ah, yeah, I would be happy for you to share this. It doesn't like that's the thing. I walk the talk. I live the life. I walk the talk because I think the most important fundamental thing about human design is getting people to just really truly accept and be themselves. Because when you can really truly be and accept yourselves, you just become you become really it just it's hard to explain. It's a good feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, are you tapped out? Do you want to wrap this up, or do you want to keep going? I've got
no,
energy, but
I'm good. I'm good to keep going, but I was actually thinking maybe I could. I don't know if I could share the video with you. I don't know if it's going to work with my laptop, but I would love to share the promo video with you and just give you a quick run through the imagery of it, if that's okay.
yeah, I've seen it. Do you want to? I could also display it on this end. Like, is there a YouTube link
Yeah,
for it, or
yeah, that's a good idea. Go to humandesign.ai YouTube. So let me find the link for you.
hey, shh, dogs are breaking. Human design AI. What? Okay. Human design
Human
AI
design.
slash what?
It says human design advert. You see it? I'll send you the link. I'll send you a private chat. Here you go.
Okay. Would you
Oh yeah. By
stop?
the way, just a quick note. There's a funny thing we should mention. So I don't know for sure, but I have a little bit of a suspicion, shall we say, that Facebook and Google are somewhat shadow banning us from promoting the platform on the video with the video ads, because and I don't know if that's I don't know if that, I'm not sure if that's 100% true, because sometimes I can do it, I'm able to promote them, but for some reason every time I do it there's a technical glitch with the website.
Hmm,
Something doesn't fully work. um,
interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of weird stuff going on. Okay,
yeah.
I got it here, so let me. I should be able to share it here.
Okay.
Let me that window full size. No, hang on. Almost. And there we go.
Yep.
Nope. I shared the wrong screen. Let's try that one more time. Window. Yeah. Okay, that's better.
Oh, dude, I got a funny stuff to this actually, but anyway. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll
um,
play this first.
okay,
Okay, hang on. Keep
so
talking.
are you recording the sound? Not really. I can't hear your voice either, actually. Never mind. Can you hear me? uh, uh,
Cool. Yeah, the stream will have displayed the video and the audio. It probably on your end
oh,
wouldn't have. That's all. So
okay. Yeah, I was wondering. Well, yeah. So basically, that video. Yeah, I met a famous rapper when I was in the Philippines, and he had a camera crew, and they had their own kind of band, and they played together, but they did side gigs of making videos, and we were hanging out one day just chilling, and I had this feeling to ask them to make a video, and also we were thinking about launching a token for the platform for HumanDesign.ai, but it's just a whole different topic. So this video was actually supposed to be for the token,
hmm.
but it ended up being just like this really beautiful, like kind of montage. And I tried to share that actually on the Human Design and Astrology group on Facebook a couple of days ago, and
Yeah.
whoever is moderating there deleted it very quickly. So
Hmm.
it's not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad.
I know. It's like, God damn it.
What?
Like,
It's frustrating right now to do things. And a related note and completely unrelated note. Like one of
yeah,
the platforms I built is a music bingo platform. It allows people to play a fun game in anywhere you're at, sing along, just play. Right? It's for bringing people together.
yeah,
Because it's got the word bingo in it, I can't
yeah,
post it almost anywhere because bingo is a form of gambling. Like, and the word is only ever been used in a bingo hall So like it's the most frustrating thing, but that's what the game is. That's what it's called. And so like just trying to even put stuff together, it's just like cock blocked everywhere. It's like you're trying to gamble. I'm like, not. I'm trying to have people like play, like listen to music and sing along with their friends. It's getting
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah. It is
So
frustrating, especially it's frustrating. Um, but it's okay. Maybe this podcast will. You could share this podcast in the group, and hopefully people will uh, understand that we're not like some big bad organization. It's like there's real meaning and purpose.
or I'll get banned or I'll get deleted.
Yeah,
We'll
they'll
see.
ban you
It's funny.
anyway. Yeah, it's if you're not offending some people, you're not doing big enough things.
Yeah. Yep. That's been actually a summary of my week. It's become pretty
Mm.
clear. It's just yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I
Um,
describe myself is I can find the elephant in the room anywhere, but if there isn't one, I'll make one because I'll be bored. So it's basically me in a nutshell.
but by the way, remember last time we spoke though, you were talking about your how things were with your wife and how going away was going to be a good time for you to have your own space.
Mhm.
Um, and it's how right was that? How good was it for you to just go in and actually be yourself and talk about your passions and your hobbies and to be present? I bet that had a really positive effect on everything back home, right? To a certain extent.
Well, it had a positive effect, and it was a huge strain at the time.
Yeah.
So, like,
Okay.
there was other outside parameters. Her sister was here for 3 weeks prior to when I left, so we weren't really connecting a lot. We've got all the financial struggles. So the only time we saw each other during the day was to discuss money we don't have or owe.
Yeah.
Uh, and then she'd go back to her sister because she's loves hanging with her. And then I went away for a week, and I was at Dr. Eleanor's place, and like just a whole different world there. And then to Santa Fe, which was again a whole different world there. And then came home, and then so we basically left kind of fighting, but only because it was we've actually always done that whenever we've um, taken a break for anything, or if I go somewhere, we ultimately almost argue on the way out, and came to realize that it's usually like you're trying not to. I don't know. It's like a bond breaking thing that I recognize I do now, and is actually necessary. Just
Hmm.
a clean,
Uh,
fresh start.
yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like But man, where are you, by the way? You're not near Florida, I guess. You're not. I
No,
forget
no,
where.
I'm in Victoria, Vancouver Island, Western Canada.
Okay, north. So Canada. So
Yeah,
you're good. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
and I guess
Yeah,
Florida's got right about now. So,
that's that's a whole interesting situation.
yep,
Um, yeah. What do you
terrifying
make about that?
about it.
What do you? Yeah.
Well, I mean, so many things crossed my mind today. One, one, if it's hit with the kind of devastation they talked about, this will
Yeah.
bring insurance companies and reinsurance companies to their knees, and that whole industry is a lie, anyways, right? So, like, there will be no money to pay people out because they will
No.
just declare bankruptcy. So that will create all the remaining distrust in insurance to be obliterated, and that will wreck that industry. So that's one. And not that I'm worried about the insurance industry because
No.
fuck that.
But
But
yeah, I know.
but there's
Yeah.
ramifications because people have jobs there, and the coffee shop near a big building, like it's like that's a whole industry that could have zero uh, trust anymore. NASA is in Florida. Disney World is in Florida. Certain it's a big port for supply chain. Like it could have like it's never mind Florida being devastated, just all the things that will impact all kinds of attitudes. If Disney World is doesn't exist or is like completely wrecked, where are people's vacations that are coming up? Where are they gonna get excited about? Um, and yeah, so I don't know. It's terrifying, but at the same time, I see pictures of all the roads empty. That's a great time to go in and stir shit up. Um, you know,
Well,
people have
for
left their
me, yeah.
homes. They're
Yeah,
It's
that's
crazy.
for me. For me, observing it. Um, I maybe a little bit conspiratorial minded, but it seems almost like some kind of pantomime show. But it's like maybe they're flushing out. Uh, Maybe it's like some kind of I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. It seems very staged in some way, shape, or form. There's too much.
Mhm.
Like if you look at all the new news articles around it, they've always got 33. Like there's 3.3 million people in Tampa, for example. You know, so I'm a bit skeptical of the whole thing, as usual. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're both a little bit high, and this is kind of a fun conversation. And your mind can go to lots of interesting places here. But like what I saw those roads empty, I just thought, fuck, like 9/11 apparently, where like 2 days before, all sorts of things were occurring under those buildings and stuff
well,
being moved.
what do you mean the roads were empty though? Like when, like, because I've seen lots of roads that are full, but I don't know which
No,
roads you mean empty.
and I mean, again, it's just images on Google, and it was just me. Like, I actually never checked the news, but today I was like, I wonder what's going on with Milton. And I see these
Yeah,
pictures. Maybe they were YouTube thumbnails, but it was just completely empty roadways. Like, they've evacuated. Like the mayor in Tampa literally said on the news last night, "If you stay in your home, you will die." And I was like,
yeah,
"Holy shit! That is
that's
some
a
like right?
strange
Like
thing. Right?
that's if it's true, then I hope they're busting an ass to get out of there. But what if any part of that is just like how afraid can we get the people
I think
because
that's the thing.
we need
It
them to
seems it's
buy even more
yeah,
insurance? Because like,
yeah.
oh, thank goodness this one wasn't as bad as we thought. Like we'll only find out tomorrow. We'll see the
I
devastation or we
I saw a post somewhere that said the actual wind speed was only 50 miles per hour, but they were using it as they were purposely amping up the collective idea that it was going to be a big storm.
Yeah.
But for whichever purpose that actually is, God only knows. But I noticed a theme in the reporting. They were really encouraging people with RVs and temporary homes to evacuate from their place, which yeah, obviously that seems like common sense because
Mhm.
they're the most likely to be affected. But it could just be that perhaps there is an overrun of illegal immigrants or people living in temporary accommodation, and they just decided to do a massive clear out of Florida, and they're using this whole thing as a ploy to do it because Ron Santos he kind of, I don't know, when I look at him he looks kind of evil, so like
Well,
I'm getting evil vibes from him. Huh?
yeah, he seemed more berserk than others. So like, yeah, it's why can't you just envision the idea that like maybe stuff like that's going on, right? It's I mean, yeah, I can see I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't know what to I hope that people aren't that evil. I
Um,
guess.
I hope not too, but there are, like, really, people are evil, bro. Unfortunately, and it's getting worse in the world. And having traveled through, like, so I was in Manila a couple of weeks ago for a seminar. It was like a one of those like American style, like speakers selling kind of seminars. Um, and yeah, being in Manila, dude, it feels like a full-on war zone. There's no tanks. There's no guns, or it's not, well, there are guns, but there's no, like, there's no all-out war. But the vibe and the people is, and the 5G and the all the food and all these things and the pollution and everything, it's apocalypto, dude. And this is
Mm,
happening all over the world right now, which is really devastating and terrifying. But
yeah.
um yeah, again, we cannot do anything about it really, other than contribute what we can to the world, right?
Well, yeah. Like from my perspective, and I feel like most people I talk to in my immediate orbit don't hear me, but it really is. I've just learned how important the basics are of just taking care of your body and water and meditation. If everybody meditated for 2 hours a day, they would not go causing fires everywhere they went, because they would
Right,
actually find out, oh, that's a physical fear I'm feeling in my body, and it's confusing my brain, and it's causing me to do X, Y, and Z. And then you just have to look at the mechanics to see where that anxiety is going, right? Or coming from.
right, right. And usually you can fix pretty much everything in meditation.
Yeah.
It's no problem that cannot be addressed with meditation. Um,
So what do
yeah, it's
you
funny.
let's talk about that for a second, because like let's compare trade notes, because maybe, and also if we talk about meditation, maybe other people will explore it. Because for me, I have been so resistant to it, even though I when I sit down to do it, sometimes I'll be like, screw it, I'm doing this for the next 4 hours. It's like, but there's other
Well,
days where I won't do it because I still have, like, I somehow am resisting it, or not worthy of it, or whatever. But
okay, I've
it's the
got, I've
shift.
got, I've got, I've got a really good relatable example that people might be able to easily, sorry, easily relate to. Sorry, my mouth stopped working there for a second. But anyway, yeah. So basically, um, let's say hypothetically you meet somebody and you fall in love with them. um, the mind and the body will often lie to us and create situations and stories that aren't necessarily true. um, but if you meditate, if you just take a moment to shut off your thinking and really experience your own being, you'll realize that the love never left you. So you don't need to worry about what that other person is doing or where they're at if you just stay in that place of that love. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So it's the same with all aspects of life, with everything, with business, with money, with everything. It's like, okay, I find myself getting really upset and overwhelmed by everything that's going on. Oh my God, so many fucking problems. How am I going to fix them? And then you take a minute and you just meditate and you realize that, well, actually, in this very specific moment, I am okay. I'm good, right? So if you can have a persistent I'm good instead of oh my fucking God, you
Hmm.
I'm good, then
Yeah.
those experiences and the actions taken will lead you to that place where you are persistently experiencing that.
Yeah. It's one of the things Eleanor talks about,
Mm.
is it's an exercise where it's like, am I pointed in the right direction? Am I at the right height? Am I, I forget, there's like 8 questions to ask yourself. And really, it's just centering you in, like, are you safe in your body right now? Like, just back to basics, and, and then, like, what, I guess it's meant to help you figure out what to focus on next, or what's out of alignment. Like, where should I next put my energy? And I actually need to go back and look at that, because I haven't in a while. It didn't resonate at the time, but as we're talking, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly. It's like your personal GPS locator. Like, find me again. Okay, am I pointing in the right direction? No. Huh, what does that mean? you know, it's great questions to ask, and really, really clean language. So, hmm, I got
Mm.
into transcendental meditation too. I don't think I'm doing it properly, as in like the way a lot of people do it, which is, I guess, you go on a course, you sort of get your mantra and your tone, and it's a bit of a process. But I found a guy on YouTube that does a daily meditation, but it's all about just locking into a sound, and it's what I've needed, because I still need variety. So I love that every day it's just a different. sound that I'm looking for, and it helps me focus and turn everything off. So it's kind of like modern fake, but like not unofficial transcendental meditation, but like very effective. So
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, Sean. It's like everybody, a lot of people think that you have to do a specific meditation in a specific way, but it's not really the case. The only mandatory part of meditation is just taking a break from thinking and doing for a minute. You
mhm.
know, it doesn't matter how you do that.
Yep.
But even you could be doing to a certain extent. There are certain things that are meditative in their in their own right. Cooking, for example, or hoovering. You know, but you have to be conscious of that state. Whilst it's good to be conscious of that state. Um, yeah, man, I really feel for people in the world right now. I feel that in my heart. I feel the pain and the suffering. I feel for the children that are going through the pain and the suffering. And I don't know where we're going, but I have a feeling that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I
You know
keep kind of having the same feeling. Like I feel it doesn't look good, but I know it'll be all right, and I don't know why.
So yeah, if there's anybody that watches your podcast and is like feeling a bit hopeless and a bit like you know, hopefully we can kind of inspire them and remind them.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, like you mentioned earlier, Sean, about how some people are reluctant to use the AI because they think it's going to replace them. Well, the thing is, if we think that, then what's going to happen?
Hmm.
It's going to happen, right?
Yep.
But if we think, okay, well, how can we use the AI to actually be more of service? Then in actual fact, it's so easy now to run a brand and a business. You can automate everything. You don't even like if you want to declare yourself as an emotional support guru or something along those lines, which is probably massively in demand right now because there's a lot of people that need emotional support. If you want to declare that, then you can set up automations now and you can run your entire business with AI and just contribute your gift to the world thanks to the technology. So things don't need to be scary. It's just a case of adapting and shifting your mindset, right? I
Yep.
think that's anywho. What
Yeah.
time is what time did we start, bro? We've been on go for an hour now, I think.
I've been a
Maybe we can
little over an hour. Yeah.
yeah we can
You wanted to wrap it
wrap
up?
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Well,
unless there's anything.
we can meet again too, right? But yeah, I had a long day, and this was good, but I could just feel like I'm sort of sitting with that hopeful yet, aware and observing energy, and it's heavy. It's a bit of time with that. So
Yeah, well, you don't have to. Let's not. We don't need to just discuss it now. But I would love to know your thoughts on actually contributing to the platform, and like we talked about last time. But we don't have to. We can talk about that another time and
well,
wrap this
I
one up.
no, thank you for asking, because I remembered earlier today, like this is the one thing I wanted to ask you about. I want to talk
Yeah,
to Nathan and Alex at Neutrino Design as well, but
yeah,
um, Eleanor is really, she's like almost 80, but still hungry for data and for like, so she said like she wants to be able to ask people questions based on their definition and then use that to calculate the data. Like, let's prove the data versus speculate. And so, you have a bunch of subscribers where you have their birth info, and you don't go handing it over to her. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. What I'm saying is being like, hey, if you want to participate in a survey because you have gate whatever and you have channel whatever, in this
yeah,
situation, you feel
yeah,
this, that, and then that data could then
yeah.
we could co-validate what's real versus what's been
You, you
channeled
mentioned
versus what's
you
been right.
mentioned this before, didn't you? Like a collaboration, like a co-authored database of information. I think we talked about this before. You suggested this, and I added this to the roadmap of the platform. So it's something we're definitely considering doing. But if you would like to help to map out how that might actually look in terms of like doing it, then I would really appreciate the help for
Yeah.
sure.
Well,
Yeah,
and I think I mentioned before. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Eleanor as well, because there is other data that, like, the platform could be responding based on human design or four worlds and the energetics, and or merging the two, and or you know what I mean. Like, the data is there to empower
bro.
people, and
This is it. This is it. This is. So what do you have in mind? Like,
well,
is
I mean,
it?
at first I gotta. It's interesting. Like, she the other day, I thought she was resistant to AI, and I don't know why I thought that. Maybe just because she's
Yeah,
turning 80, and you know, that she's like loves technology. You know, I can imagine being like, "Fuck, not another thing." She's busy, but she was just
yeah,
kind of talking about, "Yeah, I was using ChatGPT the other day." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I know now that she's like open to interacting with it, because
yeah.
but then the next thing
So,
is just creating the connection. I think one thing for sure is, because I keep experiencing this with people, whenever I introduce Eleanor to them, there's often resistance. I think with you, we've already been kind of talking about it. I don't think it really is there. Hey, hey, hey. But others will be like, it's so jarring because there's just so much more data. There's not three, like a design date and personality. There's like nine imprinting, and so it seems overwhelming at first, but at the end of the day, it's actually simpler because it's just
yeah,
about energy flow, not about what you don't have. Like, if I've learned
yes,
anything through this process, is that I found human design because I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me and everybody
yeah,
else, and
yes,
really, the other this system and the work is more about what's more pronounced or amplified in me, not what I don't have. I am all of the body graph. You are all of the body graph. And you had said earlier, even it reminded me, like, I know some people that broke up over human design. Like, they were aware of human design for 2 months and broke up because their mechanics, like, it was just like so brutal. So brutal. Like, you're gonna just do that everywhere you go. Like, oh, we're not compatible. It's insane. So it,
yeah.
it can't
That's
be
that, that,
super
that that's
smart.
that's that's an extreme, isn't it? It's like, but there maybe there's a misunderstanding of human design. But
Mhm.
and I don't know. We don't know the mechanics that they had. There might have been some kind of like some kind of you know. It's hard for us to know. But I
Well,
do know in my own
I know
relationships.
the fella, and I think maybe it was a convenient excuse. It was like
Oh,
he
okay.
was out anyways, and he was like, "Oh, look, babe, it's not. It says that we can't be friends." So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be used in that way as well. That's for sure. Just having an awareness, like I know, like for example, I have somebody in my life right now, and just being able to use actually HumanDesign.ai to do relationship analysis now. Like I can literally just find out exactly what we are going to complement each other, and what we're going to struggle with, and to do that in like 10 minutes in comparison to what would usually have taken years to figure out. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I hope it's a good thing ultimately, but on a collective. But I think the one thing that keeps us from having peace on Earth is this confusion of not knowing who we truly are, trying to be like every other people, right? The whole world would be different if we knew who we truly are, and we were doing something that was really aligned with us, you know.
Mhm. Totally.
Anyway, I
You ever
just
seen the
before we
movie?
go,
Oh,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yep. No,
I
no, you
met
go
this
ahead.
crazy. Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story before we go. Okay, so I was in the city the other day, and I went to this Mexican restaurant that I really love, really good Mexican food, and this old guy walks in, this old American guy, and he sits down. And I love talking to old guys because they have a lot of wisdom and knowledge that we don't get. Like, and it's silly to waste that. So I thought, I'll make friends with him, and it turns out that he was a what was he? He was a philosopher at some really prestigious university in the US for something like 20 years. Okay. And he'd studied so many books, all the Socrates, everything you could possibly imagine. He had read it, and he was one of those kinds of people. And anyway, so he was one of those kinds of people that whenever you say something, uh, then I started talking about my relationship, and I was like, see, you're doing it again, you're living in the past, you're living in the past. And I was like, yeah, well, actually I was just sharing it with you because you're an old guy, and I felt like I wanted to get that off my chest. And you mentioned your partner in the past, and I thought, so he started judging me. So then I thought to myself, okay. Anyway, and then finally we got onto the topic. He asked me what I was doing, like how I was living, and I told him about human design. He's like, He's like, you're that's gonna come back to you. Can't be doing that voodoo. That's voodoo. I don't want anything to do with that voodoo. And I thought to myself, you know what? I have contemplated this many times. I have questioned, and I have the fear of God in my heart
Mm.
when I contemplate this idea. Am I doing something that is negative, net negative? Am I channeling energies that are actually not good for the earth? And this guy started. He was like, "Yeah, you're doing the voodoo, and I'm not going to listen to that stuff. I'm based in reality. I'm studying ancient philosophy and all this kind of stuff." And then I thought to myself. I said to him, "I was like, well, let me think about how my life is for a minute. All I give is love and kindness and generosity, and I only operate with that in my heart and my soul, and all I receive is that with my heart and my soul. And for every step of my life, for some reason, for I don't know why, but I've always been guided, I've always been protected, and everything is always working out for me. So mm, I don't know. That for me seems like good karma. That seems like a good experience. And no offense, but you're you don't seem like the happiest old guy I've ever met. So we had this like kind of like duel off, and then I drove away with my dog on the back of the bike, and him just like angry. And I realized I was like, no, actually, you know what? This information is not evil or negative or occult. It's different awarenesses that were brought into the collective consciousness through different people, through different experiences, and they've been refined, and it's all led up to this moment where we reach a pinnacle point in our human history where we have to figure out what it is that we're here to contribute when AI and all these other things have come in to step away from it. And for some reason, I think me and Ra would have got along well, to be fair. I think we would have had a good banter, so I sometimes have this wonder. I wonder if perhaps I was given this opportunity with HumanDesign.ai to really share this knowledge with the world en masse. And will I go
Mm.
to hell for that? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so.
no, no.
So,
It's and
um,
like I can hear in your voice, and I remember even talking like a year ago. Like
mm,
there's like people throw a lot of shade at AI because there's shade to be thrown at AI. Like especially those that are making decisions around it and or restricting it, and like there's just so many things about AI that are scary. But um, we're mutating all the time. We're humans are meant to mutate, and it's just moving super fast, and everything's colliding. And even from a human design standpoint, you know, it's just circling back to like we need human design AI and other things like that to help us figure out what's right about it and what's wrong. And even from the whole thing with Raw, like Raw's transmission was in 1987. We have moved on a shit ton since then. So if we're only looking at the mechanics, even just from that particular download, people are downloading all the time now. We're
Right.
learning to collectively download and we're sharing it through platforms like this. And people are, it's what is it, the Bannister effect. Like, humans didn't know, or humans used to believe that your heart would explode if you ran a mile under 4 minutes. Like that was a belief back then, and because that's what was communicated. So then this guy runs, the 4 minute mile, and then all of a sudden, like, and no one had ever done it before, right? So the guy
Yeah.
must have been like afraid to death. Like, my heart is literally going to explode. That was the level of consciousness in that mammal plus a bit of a brains person, right? And
It's
but it was like
almost like a
30
you know?
people broke his record within 6 months. So humans had
Yeah.
never done it. And then all of a sudden, everybody was fucking doing it. I mean, you still have to be an athlete to do it. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he didn't die, and the ones that followed didn't die either. So we learned something. So
Yeah.
we are learning and sharing at a rapid rate right now. And
We,
it's that
we
sharing that's empowering.
We are, and we can. The thing is that people are so anti AI, but in actual fact, we can get the AI to do all the things that we freaking hate doing, and we can stand in our power and do what we love to do, being supported by the AI to a certain extent. And that sounds so dystopian. And I'm like the biggest hippie on the planet. I don't well I'm not like not the biggest, but I'm a true hippie. So I'm not coming from a technocratic political aspect of understanding. I'm coming from okay, so I don't like doing social media. I don't like writing copy. I don't like writing sales emails and stuff. But I recognize for me to really fulfill my mission, my purpose, these things need to be done. So why not, instead of resisting AI and getting upset because it's taking your job, it's like, well, it's taking the job that you didn't want to fucking do anyway. So you've got the opportunity to focus on something that you really do want to do. You know, that's, for me,
Mhm.
it's the greatest time to be alive. But then I have the greatest sympathy for people that don't see it, and I wish to God that we could do something to bring everybody into alignment. But that's something everybody has to do, not just me.
No, it's
You
a
know.
collective consciousness project. Um, there are evil people. But I don't quite believe in this idea that there's like 6 or 10 people at the top that are somehow masterminds. It's that everybody is in on it. Everybody has some impact of why they won't make X decision differently. It could affect their cousin's job. It could, like it's just that it's tangled, and so we all will find excuses not to go what's healthy for me and what's good for
Yeah.
others. So
Mm.
it's frustrating.
Yeah. It is frustrating, but it's just part of the process of what we have to do to get to really the most peaceful planet. It's gonna be like it's gonna be a Zen zone. You'll be able to there'll be pickups everywhere that you can steal, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's gonna be like a, but we have to get to that point. And I believe the only way to get to that point is to consciously dedicate yourself to being of service to others without expecting anything in return,
Mhm.
unconditionally, loving unconditionally, aligning yourself with that, is the only way to survive this transition. Um, so yeah, but well, nothing really more to add to that, I guess. So why don't we let's wrap it up. I'm happy for you to share with the video. It's fine.
I'll tell you what. Usually, what I'll do, I'll hit the little button that makes it look like it video's off. I'll stop the recording, but hang on, and we can chat a little privately after if you want to.
Sure.
Okay, let me do that thing where I make it look all pro.
Cool, man. Great.